Morning everyone, I hope everyone's well on this Monday morning and ready for the week ahead. Whether you're at work or on holiday or whatever you have planned, I hope you achieve all your goals and have a fantastic week. Now I'm going to do a rapid fire, pew pew, which I haven't done that, boxing preview for the fights and predictions for the rest of this year. Now, we're going to start with Teofimo Lopez v Rolly Romero on the 22nd of August. And I'm going to link this to another fight with Ryan Garcia in a little bit, because you never know what you're going to get with Teo. Against Lomachenko, against Josh Taylor, he looked world class. He looks a generational talent. Against Sandor Martin, against Jermaine Ortiz, against George Kambosos, he looked average. Now, Rolly Romero's tough, but he's limited. He has some power, and he beat Ryan Garcia. He lost to Tank Davis and Isaac Cruz, and he was stopped in both them fights. And if anybody remembers, there's a very controversial finish against Ismael Barroso, who was beating him comfortably, and the ref just sort of jumped in and stopped the fight for absolutely no reason, and Rolly became champion of the world. Now, I'm very heavy on Teo here, very heavy. I think he is on another level skill-wise to Rolly Romero. You just never know what you're going to get. The last fight against Shakur Stevenson, he didn't look great, but Shakur is a generational great and probably the best fighter on the planet at the moment. But my official prediction is Teofimo on points. However, it wouldn't surprise me if he was to score a late stoppage. He does carry power, and Rolly is moving up in weight. Now the next fight, and this, it kind of breaks my heart, because Moses Itauma could be the future of the heavyweight division, but go and look at ticket sales. Half the arena still for sale. So we've got Moses, and it's now for the IBF world title, which is fantastic because England could have two heavyweight world champions after this. Now, everything on the eye test tells us Moses Itauma is unbelievably gifted. The next Alexander Usyk, the way he moves, the way he puts shots together, the hand speed, the combinations. But this is something of an acid test. Filip Hrgovic is tough, he's limited, he's strong, he's good. It was a good amateur. I think he's made for Moses. I do. He's very easy to hit. He's very tough, and he does hit hard. And Moses may take a shot here, and that's another little box checked on the Moses Itauma bingo card that we all like to go, oh, he hasn't been tested, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. He looks the real deal, but if the fight goes long and he's running out of ideas, is he still there? Does he get impatient? So what happens if the fight goes long? Unfortunately for Hrgovic, I don't think it will go all that long. I think he's very easy to hit, and I think there's a lot of scar tissue on his eyes and on his face after the Dubois fight. He's got an incredible chin. If you watch the David Adelaide fight, he basically plays swing ball with his head at one point, and he still doesn't go down. He fought Big Bang Zhang, took shots, didn't go down. He's got an unbelievable chin, but the scar tissue there, and I think it will get stopped on cuts somewhere around round 7, 8, 9. So next, the week later, we have Katie Taylor, the GOAT, the greatest female fighter of all time, no doubt in my mind. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Katie Taylor, when she started boxing, used to pretend to be a boy, because it was illegal for girls to train boxing in Ireland at the time. Therefore, she grew up sparring boys, and she is rough and tough and has been in the best women's fights. If you watch the fights against Amanda Serrano, they're the best women's fights you'll ever see. Now, she's got one official loss on her record against Chantel Cameron. I actually thought she lost against Delphine Persoon, and I also thought she lost one of the Serrano fights But if you ever want to see true grit and determination, watch round 4 of Katie Taylor v Amanda Serrano 1. She looked like she was gone, and she came back and she clawed victory. Now, this is easy. Katie Taylor's going to win on points, and a celebration at Croke Park for her incredible career, and she deserves it. So next up, we've got Ryan Garcia v Conor Benn. And like Teo, with Ryan, you never know. You never know what's going to show up. And in this fight, there's another caveat. There's another little variable. Both fighters, after their best performances, failed for drugs. They failed with PEDs. Osterine in Garcia's case, and clomiphene in Conor Benn's case. Now, that makes it hard to predict a fight, because after, neither have looked good. Conor Benn hasn't knocked anybody out in, I think, 4 years now, since the failed test. He's also moved up in weight. He's moving back down to 147 now. That's going to affect him. It has to, after you've moved up to middleweight, because you bulk up, you put on muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat, and draining that weight is not going to be healthy. Now, Ryan Garcia is an unusual one. He has spoken, and I don't like to talk negatively about it, because he has spoken openly about mental health problems, and they have been on display in boxing and on Twitter. But he is a very talented fighter, and he has got very fast hands. And if the Ryan Garcia that beat Devin Haney turns up, easy work. If the Ryan Garcia that fought Rolly Romero turns up, Conor Benn can outwork him. Conor Benn can outwork him any day. But I have to pick fights based on who I think is better, and I have to go with Ryan Garcia. I will go points, although if he lands that left hook, that fast left hook, that accurate left hook that he landed on Devin Haney and knocked him down like 4 times, I can see him stopping Conor. But Conor, he is about it. Grit, determination. I like Conor. I've met Conor. We used to, back when I was on Twitter, we used to follow each other and chat up a little bit. He's a really nice guy, regardless of what you see on social media and his persona. He's a really nice guy. He's about it. He's got them genetics. He's Nigel Benn's son. You know, that is the genes to have when you're talking about grit and determination and staying in fights. Unfortunately, it just looks like the power's left him, but he's ferocious. He'll never stop going forward, and in that first Eubank fight, he took a lot of damage and carried on going. That was probably his most impressive performance, even though it was in defeat. But I do pick Ryan Garcia on points. Next, Canelo v Christian and Billy. Not the easiest fight in the world for Canelo, especially at this stage of his career. Canelo, all-time great. All-time great. And Billy can cause problems. I just think the occasion is a bit too big for him maybe, and I think Canelo's going to win on points. Simple as that, really. I think Canelo, his punch output is declined so much. It's half what it used to be. But he's got a granite chin. You're never going to stop him. You're never really going to hurt him. And I think he'll just win on points. Plus, he's the money in the room, unfortunately. He's been gifted some decisions in the past, and you sort of have to win 9 rounds to get a draw, as we saw in the Golovkin fight. So I think Canelo on points. And the last fight isn't confirmed yet, even though it is sort of confirmed, and we talk about it every single day, is Anthony Joshua v Tyson Fury. It is slated for November the 14th in New York. Because there are rumours that it may get pushed back, which makes absolutely zero sense, and it's not good for either fighter. Now, I've always thought Tyson Fury wins this fight. However, the manner of victory has changed over time as fighters have declined. Now, the prime for prime, I think Tyson Fury would have boxed AJ's head off for 12 rounds. Would have bamboozled him, switch hit, a bit like he did against Klitschko. Now, there's a period where Tyson Fury obviously ballooned up in weight, put on 10 stone, lost 10 stone. That's an amazing achievement in itself. At that point, you'd have to have made AJ the favourite if they were fought, but that was never going to happen. Tyson Fury went and fought Deontay Wilder after only 2 comeback fights and boxed his head off. He did get caught. He got knocked down twice, and that 12th round is a bad knockdown. I've seen fights called off a lot less, and it was given a draw. But it was a robbery because Tyson won 10 of the 12 rounds. Now, AJ is a curious one. He is the boy. He has done so much for British boxing. It's unbelievable. He normalised selling out stadiums. He brought so many eyeballs to the sport, and even though he's the one making the money, it trickles downhill because there's more eyeballs on the sport. There's more broadcasters. There's more promoters. There's more people watching. There's more people going to events, paying money to watch the sport. So everybody's benefited. Everybody in British boxing, media, fighters, promoters, broadcasters have benefited because of Anthony Joshua. He has been something that will never be replicated again, quite possibly. Now, pre-Klitschko, he was just a wrecking machine. The Dylan White fight, these fights, he just absolutely, he wanted a fight, he wanted a scrap. Against Klitschko, he got caught in the 6th round, big knockdown, heavy, from a guy who had over 50 knockouts, by the way. And he got up, but he was gassed. And from round 6 to like round 10 or 11, he had nothing. And a younger Klitschko would have put him away. Since then, I don't think he's been the same fighter. A lot of people say since Andy Ruiz. I think it's since Vladimir Klitschko he's been very hesitant. However, in the Andy Ruiz fight, he did let shots go. He committed to shots. He hit him with a right hand that nearly turned his head around after the knockdown. And then he got caught on the temple and he was unable to recover, which is a big thing in this fight because Tyson Fury recoverability is unmatched. He's more durable, he takes a shot better, and he may not be able to move like he did. He may not be able to dip, dive, duck and dodge punches like he used to. However, he can roll with the punches enough that they take off a lot of the effect. And outside of the Usyk fight, where after 7 rounds he was comfortably ahead, he got caught in the 8th on the nose. It seemed to, I don't know what he did, it seemed to just really affect him. In the 9th, obviously he got that 1-2 and he was nearly knocked out, could have been stopped again. And that's the reason I lost that fight, because I had it 6 rounds apiece with the knockdown to Usyk. But that is against Alexander Usyk, the greatest heavyweight of our generation, possibly the greatest fighter. So ultimately, I don't see how AJ wins this fight, which is a shame, because I'd love to sit here and say it's a 50-50. I just think Tyson Fury, even at this stage, has more left, and he's a big game player. People will look at the Makhmudov fight and he looks alright. They'll look at the Vac fight and say, oh, he looks awful. He's a big game player. Watch him in the first 2 comeback fights against Pianetta and that, and then watch him against Wilder. Watch him against Otto Wallin and watch him against Wilder. You know, he's a big game player. He's durable. He's not a big puncher, but he's a heavy puncher because he's a big dude. And I think at this stage, AJ just has no punch resistance. He looks like he gets tired quick. I think it could be a very, very sad ending to Anthony Joshua's career, which is a shame, but that's how I see it. And I will go for Tyson Fury by stoppage in rounds 4 to 6. Now, these are fights that I could talk about for hours because I'm a dork for boxing and MMA. But I've tried to make this as quick and concise as possible. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. I will be out in Las Vegas for Garcia V Conor Benn. I'd like to do some content out there to show what it's like to be at a boxing event, etc. I'll also be at UFC 331, and I'd like to do the same because not everybody gets to go to these events, and I'd like to see what it's like to be at the event, what it's like to have a view, etc, etc. So please like and subscribe and take care of yourselves. Remember, life is a gift.